Yo, what's up everybody? It's the Legend W here, and I'm back in Bloodborne. Today, I wanted to discuss my thoughts about Bloodborne's multiple endings. Now, note to everybody, there are only 3 endings in the game. So first, we start off with speaking with Gehrman at the Hunter's Dream, and he basically, congratulates you, for all your accomplishments, blah blah blah, and pretty much he wants to take your life. In this case, he wants to have you forget about the dream and all that stuff. So you end up having 2 choices in the game. You either submit your life or you refuse. Now, in this case, I go with submit your life, so that way we get the easiest ending of the game, which earns you the Yharnam Sunrise Trophy. So in the first scene of this ending, we have our hunter just kneeling down away from Gehrman, and surprise surprise, Gehrman is actually not paralyzed. I thought he was paralyzed to begin with, but he wasn't. Anyway, he stands up and he releases his burial blade, which, note, if you choose to submit your life, you do not earn the burial blade in New Game Plus. So warning to everybody who chooses this ending and they don't have a saved copy of the game. Anyway, he decapitates you, and boom, that's the end of the cutscene. At this point, I thought that was the end of the game, but then I got hit with another cutscene here where I have my hunter just laying down in the middle of Yharnam, and it's really dark, but then the sun starts to rise. And that's when my hunter starts to get up and notice the sunlight. Now, at first, I wasn't sure whether, the hunter was actually alive or it was just a dead body just walking around mindlessly. But apparently, it seems like this is the living world, the real world, as to oppose of, the hunter's dream and the other side of Yharnam that, I played this whole time. This seemed to be the actual real Yharnam with no beasts. At this point, I couldn't help but feel that I was one of Gehrman's many victims. Now, in the final cutscene of the first ending, you see the doll just kneeling down at a tombstone, which clearly is of my hunter, and she basically starts to pray and gives her most famous used line in the game.
Farewell, good hunter. May you find your worth in the waking world.
At this point, I couldn't help but feel that my hunter suffered a very sad fate, and that it would be repeated again with other new hunters. Now, going for the second out of 3 endings, I hit refuse instead of submit your life, and basically Gehrman starts to get up from his wheelchair and tells you, hey, if you're not gonna submit your life, I'm gonna take it away from you anyway, so be ready. And you guys basically look at each other in the field, and Gehrman starts to draw his burial blade, ready for the boss fight, which, after you defeat him, leads you to the second ending of the game, earning you the Honoring Wishes trophy. After defeating Gehrman, I couldn't help but notice when he says the night and the dream were long. I felt that he failed someone. I felt that, he failed someone because he didn't seem to be like the one behind all of this. And then all of a sudden, in this cutscene over here, my hunter is looking up to the moon, and there's this huge figure. Now, this huge figure apparently seems to be another great one from the world of Bloodborne, and it's a very weird skeletal technical kind of monster. I can't really describe it, but it grabs my hunter, and what it seems like it does next is that it sucks either the life out of my character, or it tries to, I think, convert my character into another being, just like Gehrman, who seemed to be like this monster's guardian. And then, of course, over here in this scene, the doll is, moving a wheelchair, and there sitting is my hunter. And then something interesting happens when the doll says this.
And so, the hunt begins again.
Here, I realized whatever that monster was that either injected something in my stomach or sucked the life out of me, I have no clue, basically witnessed that I defeated Gehrman, which I believe was its guardian. And because I defeated its guardian, it had to show up and do something about it. So therefore, it would convert me to become its guardian. And at that point, I thought, wow, okay, so this means that that monster is the reason why the nightmares continue over and over again. And once again, got away with it, which means the nightmare will still continue. Now, for the third and final ending of Bloodborne, there is a requirement that you need to pay attention to, and that's when you take the 1/3 of the umbilical cord. Now, there are about 4, I believe, in this game, 4 or 5, but all you really need is 3. In this case, I only had 2 here on the menu because before I knew anything about this requirement for the third ending, I saw the umbilical cord and I was curious what it was used for, so I tried it, and then basically I absorbed it, and that's it. And then I realized, oh, I just needed 2 more in order to execute the third ending of the game. So basically, after picking it up, you absorb it, you basically go back to Gehrman, and you just choose to refuse to submit your life. Don't submit your life, you have to refuse. And then when I did that, I just went on to fight Gehrman, and then after defeating Gehrman, something interesting happens. At first, I wasn't sure what was going on because I thought that this was the second ending all over again. But then, I just let the scene roll by just to see what would happen. And of course, everything is pretty much the same. This monster just comes from the moon and then lands and then starts to grab you to either absorb you or something. And then something very interesting occurred where something rejected the monster, which was basically the umbilical cords that you absorbed. And because of that, this monster couldn't really do anything to you, and therefore it led to another boss fight, which of course we find out that the name of this monster is the Moon Presence. Now, after defeating the Moon Presence, you are presented with the third and final ending of the game, which earns you the Childhood's Beginning trophy. Now, what I find very interesting is, just like the Wet Nurse, defeating the Moon Presence has a sign where it states Nightmare Slain, which brings me to the conclusion that Murgle's Wet Nurse and the Moon Presence are responsible for controlling the nightmares in Yharnam. So in the third and final cutscene of the game, we notice that we have the doll walking in the hunter's dream, and she notices this small little tentacle monster, and asks whether if it was cold, and carries it like it's a baby. So then this happens.
Oh, good hunter.
After she says, "Oh, good hunter," I came to the thought that that was my character. And then, it was a little confusing to figure out, but I felt that because I defeated the Moon Presence and I defeated Murgle's Wet Nurse, 2 of the nightmares that I slain, I became the Great One. Because I collected so many blood echoes that the more that I collected, the more powerful I would become. And defeating all the strongest monsters throughout the game, I became pretty much what they were. And that's pretty much all I could really absorb from what I've seen in this ending. I'm just not 100% sure whether I'm right or wrong, because honestly, it's pretty much a big mystery. What I'm really interested is for you guys to let me know what you think about the endings of Bloodborne. Do you have a similar opinion that I have, or do you guys see something different that maybe I haven't noticed and you want to point it out? Let me know in the comment section below. I'm looking forward to checking out some of your thoughts. Anyways, everybody, that's my time for today. Thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and of course, go ahead and subscribe. I'm gonna see you guys in the next chapter. Peace.